Okay.
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Am I in the shot?
No, you're not.
Okay. All right, all good to go?
All right, yep.
All right. Again, thank you so much for taking the time out. Just to start off with it, you know, it's not the first opening night, but it is an opening night. Nervous a little, excited?
I've done it so many times. It's not. There's just not really nervousness. Just time constraints of getting to the place, setting up. But it's exciting though. Every night it's always exciting. I thought I was going to be sick of seeing this movie over and over again. I've watched this movie so many damn times, but with the crowd, the energy from the crowd every night just makes it feel. It just makes it go by fast, and it just feels like. It feels like I'm an audience member watching my own movie all the time. So.
Well, it's kind of like Rocky Horror, you know, especially when you get into the crowd montage, people being there, you know, especially with that shoutcasting and such.
I've always wanted to do that. I always wanted to have a cult film that people would cheer and laugh at, and surprisingly, this is really going.
Are you hoping for some shoutcasting to happen with this guy? Maybe not tonight, but eventually in the future. Shoutcast when they like yell at the things like you say Columbia, where do you get your weed? Or like Rocky Horror, something like that.
Like response things to the dialogue. I think over time it could be like that. I think over time there could be like they start to develop, you know, just like with Rocky Horror, they start to develop, you know, like a set of things that you're supposed to say and do, props to bring, and you know, I hope it becomes like The Room. You know,
yeah, almost like a ritual in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like The Room, exactly.
Something with the spoons, you know, they throw them at the screen and everything like that.
No, it's amazing. I know someone that knows kind of like all the shoutcast bits for Rocky Horror, and there's like one every 5 seconds.
Oh, they're called shoutcasts.
I've heard them call it shoutcast, where it's basically shoutcasting. But I mean, I've heard it called a lot of things.
Yeah.
But okay, and I asked actually Kevin this question, but it's a good point. He told me that around 2006 was where he first heard the idea from you. But where would you say, from the idea that came to your head to the moment now, how much time it's taken to make the movie?
Yeah, I mean, 2006, it was just an idea at that point. From that idea, since then. So it's been a long time. I mean, if you really count, since it went into production, since everything really began, it was the very beginning of 2012. But there's so much work all the years before, writing the script, and 2011 I think we spent the entire year just doing storyboards and stuff like that. So
how many markers did you go through for that?
Well, we had a lot of, we used every kind of storyboard method that you could use, and one of the main things we did was actually Photoshopped everything. So, yes.
Sorry.
You guys?
Yes.
Filling, yeah.
Sorry. It's all right.
A lot of post on that, right, Ken?
There's a lot of way to do storyboards, and we had traditional ones that were drawn by somebody named Gabe Crate, who was much more talented at drawing than us. But then we also did Photoshop things. Like a lot of times it's the nerd, and it's just like we have a medium close-up or whatever. We just use the same image over and over again. Yeah. That was quicker than just drawing it a bunch of times. But when they were basic camera angles and stuff, so we even animated a full-length animatic with Photoshop animation and stuff. And whenever we needed another character in it, like whenever we needed somebody to play a character, we would just grab headshots from celebrities and stuff, very South Park style, you know.
Was that a bonus that might show up on the DVD?
Well, it's 2.5 hours of copyrighted stuff and faces that we don't have the you know, likeness rights to and everything. So I don't think it would really work, but I don't know. You probably won't be seeing it. Should we move it? Let's get through. Yeah.
Really quickly.
Sure, no problem.
Thanks.
No post
yeah,
here.
it has like lots of temp music. You'll hear. I'm still going.
No, that's fine.
That's good.
We have Star Wars music in it. We have every major copyright theme you could think of in the animatic, which is why you probably will never see the animatic.
Fair enough.
Unless it was on, like, I don't know, like.
It obviously gets uploaded to BitTorrent at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't even go on YouTube because it would.
Yeah, it would be there for me.
It would get content ID'd so quick. There's no way to. So, unfortunately, you won't get to see that. But you know what? The movie's way better than the animatic.
Yeah, exactly. So. Actually, on that point, when you first, you spent a good number of years doing a screenwrite, and you finally think it's ready, it's finished, and you shoot some of the B tests and you put it on Indiegogo, and then you wait. So what was that feeling like beforehand? And then after, when it's the explosion of money you got?
Oh yeah, it was scary. It was frightening. I was like, oh my god, well now I have to make the movie. So it's like, okay, you know.
You can't just leave with the money. It's like, sorry, I got to change my mind.
Yeah.
All right. With the movie itself, was there really ever a challenge, or you know, you mentioned a few videos like the post-production, the stuff that you never thought people would do, like with the fencing, for instance. With like the fencing, for instance, you mentioned that that you never even knew like people were in the front of the fence, they're all screaming, and then you have someone that puts in the fence right in the background.
Yeah.
What was the things besides that you never anticipated as a challenge, but really came up as something you could overcome?
Everything, really. One of the hardest things was working with so many people, which was, I'm used to working with small numbers, so this was a very different thing when you have 50 people on set that are all taking direction from you and everything. It's very hard to work with a lot of people. You got to stay on the same page, and a lot of times things would get miscommunicated. With more people, it gets harder to manage. But it was a great experience. It was real filmmaking school, like real hands-on filmmaking. You know, a lot of lessons learned.
Actually, yeah. With that, you're director of first feature film. I know you've done a number of films yourself, but they've always had some sort of like, what if something might throw on you, like, oh, it's going online, oh, it's maybe a student film. But this is the first one you can say definitely made it with like you said, 50+ crew, went to feature film. Being a director of that kind of thing, of the magnitude for the first time, was that intimidating?
It wasn't intimidating really, but it was just complicated. It was just very, very complicated to do and very time consuming. And you think, well, with more people it'll get done faster, but it really didn't. Like I thought, like, oh, okay, well this thing is just gonna, like, everybody's gonna chip in, it's gonna make itself, which they did, but still it took a lot of work on our parts. We had over 80 visual effects artists from all around the world working on the movie. So
does that mean how many like roughly you were able to, like, I know you put out a recruit, but like so you got around 80 people?
That was about how many that I think actually did work on it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was a lot of people, and they were great. It was really awesome. And in the end, it was like, wow, I learned a lot of management skills now with working with so many people, and they were motivated, and you keep them working on stuff, and they were happy to do it, and they were doing it just because they wanted to be a part of it, and it was great.
On the visual effects, one of the questions I was really curious about that, I know from the get-go, even before you had mentioned it, I knew one of the big things you want to push for is more practical effects, more, I've heard someone call it once Ed Wood effects, but was that ever like an issue with the people, or was that really a challenge? Like, because I know a lot of times the actors or directors will go to CG because it's easier. So were there any challenges of sticking with practical effects?
Practical effects was harder than I ever thought. It was hard because you think like, oh, okay, you put they just get a plane, you put it on a string, and that's it. But it's actually really hard to every practical effect shot that we had was a new brain teaser, a new challenge, because you're dealing with very physical problems. It's still a lot of work to do CG, but it's hours and hours spending sitting at the computer, and practical is just actually just being there and hands-on. But we wanted it to be practical because it's just more charming. I think nowadays, because everything's CG, I get kind of numb to it. I just feel like every time you see CG, it's like, well, that looks amazing, but everything looks amazing now, and it's like, budgets that are $200 million, and with our movie, I want it to be like, the effects to be refreshing, like, oh, I get how they did that, that's kind of cool. I think when you do that, then it lets them kind of see into the filmmaking process, and that makes it more fun, I think, for the audience.
So again, you go through the visual effects, again, the challenging there with practical, working with 50+ people, director of a giant feature film. Do you still want to be a director after this, or has it turned you off completely?
Oh no, it's just maybe just made me reevaluate how I do it, like how I should stick more, because I have a lot of efficient ways to make movies. I've always done it with small numbers, like I said, small people, small numbers of people, and I kind of want the next one to be a little smaller, actually, to be a little quick. I don't want to spend 8 years on the next movie, so maybe not writing such a huge spectacle. I don't know yet, but I have like 6 different ideas for features that I've narrowed down to, it's hard. It's going to be hard to pick the next one, but there's just so many I want to do.
And people actually are probably wondering on that idea that if they're going to be a sequel for the movie, if they already talked about that, or something more original.
Right now I'm saying no, but that's like asking if you can have a second child right after you had one. So, you know, I'm not going to completely close the door on it, but right now I'm going to say no. Although I do know what would happen in the sequel. Maybe I won't say it just because in case I actually do end up making it.
You don't want someone to beat you to the punch?
Yeah, I mean, there is an idea there. Like there is possibilities for it, but I don't want to spend 8 years again doing it. So, yeah.
A random question I want to know about the film. How many nerd shirts did you go through?
Oh,
how many were lost to theft?
Yeah, so many things happened in nerd shirts. There weren't as many as you'd think. I think there were only 3 that we went through.
Oh, well, that's pretty good
because
number.
we would wash them. We would always be. We had a costume designer on set, Lane McGovern, who was awesome, and would always be bringing new clothes in each day. So I think we only went through 3. But yeah, the stuff that happened to them, you wouldn't even know. Like one time we had to cut one of the shirts to fit a cable through it because I had a harness underneath it. They pulled me up out of a chair, and so we had to cut holes in the back of the shirt for the cables. And then of course in post we had to remove the cables. Just like anything was a pain in the ass.
Well, how was flying for the first time with a harness?
It was fun, yeah, and they tried 2 harnesses on me, and one of them I remember was Richard Dreyfuss wore the same harness. In,
cool.
In the movie Poseidon. The book happens to be right there.
Wow.
Well, I'm sure the sales are going to skyrocket now after that.
I have to find the scene, like when is he on a harness?
And I know you're going to look through the movie like that.
Yeah.
I guess just to wrap it up, what would be a scene you want to choose? You pick one scene that you're either really hoping to see people's reactions or you love how they react to it.
There's a scene in there that's kind of a, well, it is. It's a big reference to Ninja Turtles 3.
Yeah.
And it gets a huge reaction every night. I'm always like, well, first I was almost thinking of cutting it. I was like, oh boy, like what if they don't get it? Like if nobody gets the joke, then it's not going to be funny. It's just going to be weird and out of place. But it might be one of the biggest laughs in the whole movie. So I'm always happy to see that everybody gets all the in jokes.
All right. Well, again, the premiere's tonight. I know you got the show already working on the DVD to some extent.
New York City premiere.
New York City,
That's
right?
right.
New York City premiere. This is, I think, the 7th premiere.
I guess. I mean,
LA. And the 3 or 4
wait,
more.
there were 6 last night actually.
Okay.
So that would be. Oh gee.
So this is number of many premieres.
This might be like 12 or something like that.
So yeah, you got that many premieres, and again, you got to work on the DVD. And everyone should go buy the DVD if they haven't already gotten it through the Indiegogo. But again, thank you so much.
Well, the DVD is going to be out hopefully November or December.
Oh, fantastic.
But yeah, so nobody's bought it yet. It hasn't been sold yet. But
okay.
Yeah, the digital release we're aiming for September 2nd, and we're still working out details with that.
Yeah.
So the September 2nd should be the date when everybody can see it, and then because that's quicker to do. Because for the DVD and the Blu-ray, we got to get all.
Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of.
Yeah, bonus features and stuff. We have tons and tons of. I think the making of documentary might be as long, if not longer, than the actual movie. So we'll see.
All right. Well, again, you see here everything you can look forward to, and I thank you so much for the time. I wish you the best with the movie.
Okay, thanks.
Not as a